Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome everybody to the Parks and Rec Advisory Board meeting for August 23rd, 2023. The only reason I'm sitting here is because Kelly is not feeling well tonight, so hopefully she will be up and around very soon. Let's get started with the approval of the minutes. If anybody would like to make a motion.
Move to approve the minutes as presented.
Second?
Yeah, I'll second that motion.
Okay, does anybody have any discussion? All right, that will pass then. Did you get your first and second? Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know if she repeats that. All right, reception of delegations. How's that
Up to
going?
you. If you want to call out our city manager who's in attendance.
Welcome
this
to our
evening.
city manager, Jim Weeprecht. Thank you for coming to the meeting. We miss your wife, Lauren. We wish she had come too. All right, so let's move on to unfinished business. Lorena, update on Bollinger Park.
All right, yes, so construction is still moving along. The contractors cleared the trail almost to the second bridge near where the trail opens up into the meadow. So he's gotten through the majority, the hard part through the woods. Once he gets past the second bridge and the rest of the woods, once the trail opens up out into that open meadow where the young tree plantings are, it's gonna go really fast, and then it rejoins, and then he's good on that. That's been the grading, the clearing, the grubbing, some of the grading, stormwater measurements being put in and such. And then the next step is going to be the actual excavating, clearing out the inches for the stone base that's going to go in for the porous pave. We met the porous pave company representative today on site and selected a brown color for the pathway, which will blend in very nicely with the natural surroundings. That installation is tentatively scheduled for the second week of October. They estimate it's going to take about a week. All the material, the recycled tires, the colored recycled tires, and the binder and the mixer, everything gets mixed there on site and then spread out right onto the trail. And that binder is pretty tight, so they're going to have to work fast on that. So that's going to take, for a trail that's a little less than a mile, it's going to take about 4 to 5 days to get that all paved out 6 feet wide. So,
Can I hold you right there?
Yeah.
Totally forgot I was rushing. We had the motions, but we didn't actually take the vote. And not one of you called me out on it because I was in such a hurry. So let's go ahead and go back to that. Approval of the minutes. Can we go ahead and take that vote? Everybody that's approving, say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay, there you have it. Okay. I knew there wasn't gonna be a problem, but I was like, oh, I'm rushing. Go ahead. All right, moving next.
No worries. All right, then, once that porous pave, the pathway goes in, then of course the parking lot, the entrance gets paved, then we get all the amenities in, the electrical and the poles will already be in, so the security cameras will go in, amenities like the trail signage, benches, the trash can, dog waste station, bike rack, all that kind of good stuff. So we're looking to have everything tied up in a pretty bow and the park opened by the end of October, for everyone to be able to still get out there and enjoy that fall foliage and all that. So that'll be nice, yeah. And then we can get those grants submitted and closed out. September 30th was the grant deadline for the federal grant, for the Land Water Conservation Fund grant. So we were informed by DNR, who's basically like the broker agent, if you will, for that one, to submit a full report with photos on September 30th. They'll evaluate at that time and let us know. But we only really need 1 more month after that.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that when I submit that report with all the photos and everything, I'll say we anticipate being finished by and having the park open by October 30th, and hopefully they'll come back with, yeah, that's fine, kind of thing. So yeah, that's it on Bollinger. Anybody have any questions on Bollinger?
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Moving on.
Memorial Park Expansion Project. Preliminary site plan is currently being reviewed by county agencies. We have received a few review letters back. We are working with Arrow on fine-tuning the multipurpose building and the lighting. We, had given, Morton is actually the company that's speccing out the building. So we gave them all of our requests, their parameters, and they're being very responsive with putting together something that's going to serve the purpose that we need those 3 areas within that building to serve. So I think that's going to look really nice. I am presenting the preliminary site plan to the Planning Commission at their Monday night meeting, this Monday. We are not asking for approval until the county has pretty much wrapped up their review. So that'll probably happen probably just before we are ready to roll with the final site plan. And then again, we'll go through that process again, submit that to the county, present it to our planning commission, and then we'll wait for the county to come back with their approvals, and then we'll ask for approval for our planning commission. And then we can release the RFP for that. So that'll be fun. That'll be good. Still hoping we can maintain a tight timeline there. Do you want me to just keep rolling on?
Main event, let's talk about it.
All right, the splash pad, update on the splash pad. So after speaking with and going over ballpark figures and design ideas with several companies, we are most likely moving, if we move forward with this project, going to go with Metro Recreation. They are a local company out of Jefferson, Maryland, close to Frederick, and they represent Water Odyssey. So a lot of the other companies, they were located all over the country, and one was located in Montreal. And their mobilization and having to hire a local contractor anyway just drove the costs up. The lowest price that I could get from those other companies for basically what we were looking for was $800,000. And that's just, way out of the ballpark. And comparatively, I think a pool at this point, a decent-sized pool installation would probably be, $900,000, maybe $1 million. And then that's just the construction cost. That is not considering liability insurance, getting lifeguards out there, constant the maintenance and all of that. So the splash pad is definitely the way to go. The proposal that we received in the design is for 5,000 square feet. So we need to trim that down a little bit, and that will reduce the pricing. Right now, the pricing stands at about $675,000. I have applied for a grant through Community Parks and Playgrounds to help offset some of that. However, we still have the Bollinger Park Community Parks and Playgrounds grant hanging out there like an uncashed check. So the sooner we wrap that project up, submit reimbursement, close that out, the better the evaluators hopefully will look at this project. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of these images, what they have proposed so far. Y'all can see the screen and you got the email. So the designers thought that they would go with the memorial aspect of the park and go with, an eagle, the symbol of our country. I think it also plays well into the FSK Junior Eagles, who play there at the field and will be playing, at the expansion as well. So we see here several eagles. We've got 3 eagles. And we've got some basic features here. We've got, in this picture, you can see the big dump bucket that dumps out 25 gallons of water when it fills, or burps, if you will. And it's got a 12-foot radius on the splash, and then you get the impact splash when it hits that concrete. You can see some small jets there, single-stream jets. The big blue Kirby thing sprays out water, as you can see. That's kind of like a shower effect. We've got the slide there. That largest eagle is a slide.
Oh, nice.
And we have also, there's a better picture of the slide right there. The feature with the eagle with its wings up on the thicker tree, if you will, that also, that's stationary, that also sprays out water. We've got a couple of water cannons on either side of the splash pad. And the smaller tree, if you will, the skinnier tree, with the eagle with its wings against its body, that spins around. And then we've got a couple of misters and little, what they call spider fountains. And then a couple of starfish. I'm not sure why why the designers thought that starfish go well with eagles.
Right.
I think they were just looking for something fun for the little kids. But that element, I think, definitely needs to be changed. We need to get rid of
See what the other options
starfish.
are.
If we're going to go with the eagles, then, I mean, I don't know about the starfish going with something else that's colorful in its place, I think would be sufficient. I don't know. So that's the basic footprint of it. Again, this is going to be reduced in size. And if we reduce it in size, maybe, I'm not sure if we can add or change out a couple of those features, like the smaller jet streams, the single stream, maybe we can do something that's more of a multiple. The only thing with that is we need some areas without a lot of stimulation. And that's where the single stream comes into play, because for those who have sensory challenges, the single stream is something that they can focus on, and they don't get too stimulated by it in a situation where they're not enjoying the experience. So definitely going to be going back to the company and to their designers to see what else they can come up with. What do you all think about the eagle theme? Do you like the slide? Would you rather see something else, maybe a couple of other features instead of a slide? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I like the Eagle theme. I think it plays really well into the Memorial Park, and then as you mentioned, the Junior Eagles playing there. It really kind of goes along with everything that kind of happens, at Memorial Park in terms of the athletic standpoint. So I think that kind of really works well. I think the more interactive things, the better. So I really like the slide and the cannons and things like that. And then, of course, the splash buckets are always a big hit as well. But, I think if we're looking to trim down in terms of the footprint, if any of those features we're not in love with, obviously the starfish could easily, probably, be removed and things like that. But I agree that, we should be mindful of making sure that it's a welcoming environment for anyone. So that's a great point that you made there. But no, I like the preliminary concept that we have here in front of us.
Okay. All right.
Lorena, let me just ask real quick. The
Yes.
water cannons,
Yes.
are they mounted so that they can't be shot off of the pad?
That is a good question. I think that there is a little swivel ability for them. Yeah, it's available with I guess you can choose 45-degree to 360-degree
Okay.
swing
Right.
operating range. So the standard is a 90-degree horizontal swing by a 45-degree vertical swing.
Yeah, that's probably better.
So, yeah, we definitely want to restrict
keep
that.
that
So, yeah, so they're
inside.
not trying to,
Right.
and wasting the water, because
That too.
again, the majority of this cost is to implement the recirculating water system. And you can see in the pictures the two square white drains. The surface of this is ever so slightly inclined, so that, excuse me, all the water goes down into those drains, and then it's reclaimed going into that recirculating system where it's treated. The UV light treatment hits it. Of course, it's all going to be chlorinated. So, and then it comes back up into the features. It's not shown on this picture, but there is a, excuse me, what's called a touch and go button. So that's on a stand, kind of like a bollard, and it's a button. So this water isn't going to be running continuously. It's kind of like a hot tub button where the kids are going to come up, they're going to hit that button to start it. Then the water starts up in the park, starts
Nice.
operating, or the splash pad starts operating. And you said that 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, and then it goes off again, and then you have to go over and hit that button again. So, and obviously off-season, we would be turning the main valve off, the main water off, just like we do for the water at the pavilions. We turn that off so that we don't have issues with frozen lines and bursts and things like that.
Nice.
But that recirculating water system is a hefty chunk of that cost. Yeah. But we have to have it. We just,
we
we
don't have any
can't
other
have the
options.
water just flowing through, down and into the sewer system. And speaking of chlorine, that's why the surface is concrete. We'd love to, I'm sure, install a beautiful colored rubberized pad. Oh, that'd be so pretty, or what have you. But I was advised by 3 different companies, including Metro, that because of the chlorine, that the rubber is just going to break down over time. He said it's great if you've got the funding to replace it every 5 years.
Right.
So an option could be to paint.
I was going to ask you if that surface is
Right.
okay to be painted then. Does that,
Some kind of paint with a
some
sealer,
texture to
epoxy.
it or something?
Right, something like that, I would imagine, could be facilitated, so we could have something more attractive maybe than just the bare concrete. But from the sources that I spoke to at these companies, the concrete, especially if it's got just a little bit of texture on it, is going to be the best too for stability and non-slip. You want something there to keep the kids from anybody. Yeah. All generation, multi-generation. I'm gonna go out there and use this.
Don't be
Hot day.
surprised.
No, I'm just kidding.
Take our chairs.
Grandparents, parents, whomever, adults, come on down, park and use it. If we put that in. So that's where we are on that. We will not hear about the grant application until March at the earliest.
Okay.
So in the meantime, I'll be going back somewhat to the drawing board with this company and again, reducing that square footage, taking those starfish out, either substituting something else or seeing what else, we can do with that.
How much smaller do you think we need to go in order to meet that?
Well,
I mean, we're talking
I guess that really depends on how much
$49.50?
you want to, right, but maybe we should look more at the price too.
Okay.
Instead of a 5,000 square foot, $675,000 splash pad,
Right.
see how many square feet can we get for $500,000
Right, okay.
and go from there.
And like we've talked about in the past, it can be added on to later.
Right.
Like we can continue to
Yes, yeah.
expand.
Right, the recirculating system is not put underneath the splash pad directly, because if there's a problem in that vault, you've got to access it.
Right.
So it's offset from the concrete and the pad. So as long as you don't, build over top of that, and there's a way to expand, around that, because you want to keep that area, that vault, as they call it, open and available. So.
Yeah, that was the question I was gonna have, was based on the size of it and like the population that we have in the town, like how crowded are we expected it to be? Because when you're looking at some of these features, like the water cannons, as much as fun as they are, it's only 2 people can really use them at a time.
Right.
So if you have like 100 people there, and the slide's the same way, like
Right.
it's the main attraction. You're gonna have a line going right through like the water cannons, the way they
Right.
have it,
Right.
set up there. So
Exactly.
just, for crowd control,
Right.
based on, how big it's gonna be to start,
Right.
those would be like the concerns I would have as far as, I mean, I like those features, but like, how much, is there something that we can do that more people can, use at the same time kind of thing?
Right.
So basically like a better crowd flow kind of situation, maybe?
Right.
I can check into that with the company. To give you a perspective, I don't know if anybody's been to Sykesville's Millard Cooper Park. They've got a splash pad there. They got that pre-COVID, before all the construction costs skyrocketed. Theirs is about half the square footage, but I think it's 2,600 square feet possibly. And back then, was that 2018, 2019? I maybe 2020, I can't remember. It was 250 or $350,000. I'm pretty sure it was 350. I can't recall now, but that was for 2,600. But people do complain that it gets so crowded. Sykesville's a big town. I mean, especially with all of its suburban areas that filter into it, Eldersburg and all of that. People go down there from Westminster and all around. So it does get pretty crowded, and this will as well.
Right.
I don't think that there's much that we can do to avoid that, unfortunately.
Right, my thought was like maybe some of the features that were more, where like.
Crowd
that might
friendly.
Might be better for the second wave of it or something. Like, just a thought. Like,
Right.
maybe there's just, like you said, there's just some things that more people can use at once.
Right. There are, there's a feature, like you could get, they're complete loops, like arches, if you
Right,
will.
where they can go through
And
those.
and they can run through those. So if we ditch the starfish maybe and put a couple of those in, then they could kind of run, through those maybe. That way they're continually, getting wet or whatever while they're waiting to do the water cannon or get on the slide. I'm not quite sure, but we can look into that. And that is definitely something I can bring up with Metro Recreation to see what they recommend for
Right.
that. Yeah, through
Nice.
Water Odyssey. Okay. Any other questions on that one? All right. Keep our fingers crossed.
I know it, right?
Right, for that grant funding and see where we are moving forward, see what that price tag comes down to. All right, I'm going to close out my screen sharing here, so I'm going to totally pull the plug. Oops, there we go. All right. Do you want me to just keep going?
Yes, ma'am.
Alrighty then. Update on general park improvements. So Flickinger Park, as stated before in previous meetings, that is the priority on the general park improvements. Met with the contractor on site to review the grading assistance that's needed there for the proper water flow down into the storm drain that's on the edge of that park. He'll be repaving all 3 pathways down into the park, and we're extending the drivable pathway, I think that's off of Keenan, all the way down to the playground on that. He just said, I'm gonna be out here, I'm gonna be paving it to this point, I may as well just, finish it out and roll it down there, so. So we're hoping to get that on the schedule soon. I would also like to plant a couple of weeping willow trees out there to help
absorb some of that
soak
water.
up. Yes, exactly, and I think they'd be pretty.
Yeah.
They kind of have I don't know, their lifespan, it depends, like all trees, of course.
Yeah, they're
but the
very
willows,
sensitive trees.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I mean, sometimes you get half the tree dying out and the other half looks great, or, what have you, but, we can play that by ear. We did lose, either because of drought or, ironically, the water saturation out there. We did lose a couple of the trees that were planted for the Bob Flickinger Memorial Grove. So we'll substitute maybe a couple of willow trees for those
Okay.
to help with that. Roth Avenue Park, during the same, all these site visits, I met with the contractor there to review that pathway. That's just a single pathway that's going in. And also, there's an adjacent, I don't even think you would really call it a sidewalk. It's a walkway, but it's asphalt. So I'm getting a price on just redoing that asphalt, but also getting a price on putting in the concrete sidewalk and actually making it, a technical sidewalk as it should be. But we'll see. Again, concrete prices are up and down all over the place, so we'll see what we can do there. Memorial Park, Field 1 is going to be getting some groundwork done late this fall. Just basically cutting the existing sod that's up against the dirt there, peeling that back, grading out the field dirt, putting that sod back down and resituating it. So that's all going to be laser leveled. We're also planning on getting that speaking of sidewalks, the connector sidewalk that's going to go from Curaleaf down to Park Drive or Park Road. And pavilions 4 and 5 are slated to get their concrete floors done. So 1, 3, 4, and 5 will all have concrete floors. They'll be much nicer. 2, because the ceiling is a little bit lower on that, it makes it a little tricky to get concrete, and they would have to be excavated and all of that. So, and Public Works has told me that Pavilion 2, the lifespan probably isn't going to be, that great.
So the pavilion will be gone, but the concrete pad would still be there?
Yeah, right,
Okay.
exactly. So we'll just hold off on that one for now.
Right.
Let's see, concrete pads for the bleachers that are down there at that park as well, because the mowers, when they come in, they're moving the bleachers here, there. Sometimes they don't move the bleachers and the grass grows up and such, so we're just gonna put concrete pads down. Bleachers are staying here permanently, and there's no conflict with them being bumped around or damaged or vegetation growing up around them. We have to get a new metal roof for the football field house and the press box. Not so much on the press box, but the roofer is throwing that one in for free. So we'll go ahead and do it. But the field house roof was just having continual leaks. And, these kids, they've got to wear, this equipment and it's expensive. So can't have leaks pouring into equipment room or into the kitchen or such. And so we're going to have to go ahead and bite the bullet, and we're doing that one, those 2 buildings. And we are retrofitting the lights for the tennis courts and the basketball court. Those are going to be changed out to LED fixtures, so that is going to be more reliable, more energy efficient, of course. And because of that energy efficiency, we got a great rebate from Potomac Edison. So,
Nice.
I mean, it just made sense to go ahead and roll that into projects for this fiscal year. So, a lot going on. Roberts Mill Park, the riprap, the rocks, we're gonna have to replenish them. Some of them because of the kids throwing the rocks into the pond. They've been doing that ever since they were put in. So there are a couple of bare spots that you can really notice. So we've got to replenish that so we can maintain our shoreline, control that erosion for which those rocks were put in. We are going to put in a sign, put up a couple of signs, one on each parking lot, prohibiting this activity. And that way the police can act on it. Right now, we've got the park rules signs up. It just addresses destruction of public property, defacing public property. So you get the whole mentality out there of, oh, let kids be kids. I threw rocks into the pond or water or creeks, or whatever. With this sign up, it's clear. It's prohibited. Leave the rocks alone. So, or the police are going to come get you. So that'll help. Hopefully.
How's the fountain out there?
The fountain is good. The light.
Somebody mentioned the lights
Yes.
recently, and I was
So
like, I
the
didn't know.
breaker for the lights and the power for the fountain itself are separate.
Okay.
Because the lights are on a timer and the control, and you can change the rotation and all this other kind of stuff. The breaker for the lights tripped.
Okay.
So then that threw the timer off. So the timer, when it was reset, it was going on during the day.
Oh, so nobody
You
could see
couldn't
it then.
see. Yeah, not a thing.
Okay.
Right. And then it was going off just in time for, the dark, for the
Fabulous.
evening.
Okay.
So that's been all reset, and we're going to keep a closer eye on that now, just to make sure that that doesn't get a little wonky again like it did.
Awesome.
Yeah. New basketball poles and backboards are going to be going in. When I was looking at the new backboards, trying to retrofit those onto the current poles was just too much. And Kevin with Public Works, just get the whole system, just get the poles. It's just cheaper and easier. The guys can just take out the old poles and backboards and put the new ones in.
Okay, good.
And it's just sturdier, nicer products. There is a gentleman who is affiliated with one of the local Boy Scout troops, and he has reached out and asked if we knew of anyone who had any old basketball backboards, that kind of stuff. And I said, well, coincidentally, we are going to be, taking care of this at Roberts Mill Park. So they're going to be taking the old pieces off of our hands. They'll sign off on a waiver, and then it's all theirs, and they can do with it what they wish. So at least it won't go into the trash. It'll be
That's right. Reuse.
recycled, upcycled, I don't know, whatever, yeah.
Right.
The Boy Scouts will get to use them. Speaking of Boy Scouts, there's a young Boy Scout who's going for his Eagle Scout project. I don't know if anybody has seen that, but he's putting in a pollinator garden along the pathway at Roberts Mill Pond. So he dug out the area a couple of weekends ago, and he's coming in with the plants this weekend.
Wow, okay.
So, and he'll have a little sign there and all that, so that'll be nice, yeah, and helpful for our pollinators as well. Of course, the remainder of the fence between the soccer fields and Wance Chevrolet, we're gonna be putting that in. That'll actually hopefully be started next week. Shane with Public Works wants to go ahead and kick that off next week. It's a pretty big stretch, but he's hoping he can get that done within 3 weeks, and that will add some security for those fields so that people don't drive on and do donuts and wreck what, the fields are already struggling. And that's another thing that we are going to continue to try to work on. It's kind of hard with soccer's timing of when they end their fall season. We just have, maybe a week or two to get in there and aerate and fertilize, or aerate, seed, and fertilize before, the really cold and yucky weather sets in. And same thing in the spring. They start early, so trying to get out there and get it done and get those seeds to germinate before they have to get out there and use those fields. It's tricky, but we're gonna keep plugging away at it. And then we are going to probably be making some soccer concession stand improvements. Still waiting on some information and pricing on that. So we'll probably move forward with that this fiscal year there at Roberts Mill Park. THS Park, field lighting is going to be added on 2 of the 3 softball fields as soon as the program open space grant paperwork and protocols are wrapped up. So hopefully that will happen soon. We'll see. And all park playgrounds need to be mulched this year, so that's on the list. Lots of tree maintenance, especially in the bigger parks, Memorial and Roberts Mill. And the August 7th storm that came through didn't take any down, but we've got some branches that are hanging there. We need to get those things situated and cleaned up. Oh, and also bike racks and bike repair stations are going in at Memorial and Roberts Mill Park. So that'll be nice, help our cyclists out. And Jay Mishi secured a Bikeways grant that's going to help offset the cost of those bike racks and repair stations a little bit.
And where will they be located?
So in Memorial Park, we are going to have 2, I believe one will be located near the smaller parking lot.
Okay, because that seems like that's where all the bike
Exactly,
people park
right,
to
yes.
get started. So.
Indeed, and
Okay.
probably one over, like in the pavilion area over there.
Okay.
The repair station, I think we would probably put up at the upper, the small parking lot bike rack there. Yeah. And then one bike rack and repair station at Roberts Mill on the larger parking lot side. And then we'll have a bike rack out at Ballinger, but I'm not gonna put a repair station out
Yeah, that
there
might be
yet.
overkill. Right.
Yeah, so,
Cool.
yeah. So lots of stuff going on, improvements. Keep our fingers crossed that pricing for materials, it's crazy, I mean, it skyrocketed during COVID, and then sometimes come down and then go back up again, and it's like the gas prices. It's crazy. That's all I have for the general park improvements. Anybody have any questions on any of that?
A lot, but no questions.
Right.
You've covered it all.
Yeah, shoot. Yeah, Public Works has, of course, I can't say it enough. They are fantastic. They're having to take a break right now. I mean, they've been working so hard on everything. So they had 2 vacancies, so they're getting 2 new people in, 2 new employees in. So they've got to bring them up to speed, and they've got to catch up on their own stuff. Painting crosswalks and curbs and getting things situated before they can circle back to parks and get some of this stuff done for us. So, but they definitely have us on the list. So. Yeah, do you want me to just roll on into?
Yes, ma'am. Updates on
Update on
2023.
2023 events, yep, on the other side of the ticket. Movies in the park concluded. There were 5 movies shown this summer by Taneytown Men of Faith. They did a great job. Those were all paid for by the Carroll County Arts Council, so we thank both of them for facilitating those. They were generally well attended. There were a couple that were kind of minimal, not quite sure why they weren't attended well, but we're hoping that they'll run it again next year. And I'm thinking about maybe, and we just host, we provide the space and we provide some publicity and such. But if it's in the budget for next year, maybe I can, have Kona Ice roll in and pay for a free little mini cup or whatever for attendees. I don't know. Something
I feel
to
like it was
consider.
better than it was last year.
Yes.
Okay, so it
Yeah.
is improving.
Yes.
I mean, I know it goes up and down depending on what people have going on. but-
Right. And Taneytown Men of Faith actually rolled the cow in at one of them. And that was the best attended, I believe. Yeah.
Okay,
So, yeah.
there you have it.
Uh-huh, exactly.
Okay.
I mean, they were, trying to get that out that, hey, free water, free popcorn, come on down, kind of thing.
Right.
But, our youth tennis clinics and the Hapkido programs last month went well. Great instructors for those programs, and they were enjoyed by all who participated. We'd love to run those again next year. I think they've been pretty successful. So, adult tennis clinics are being offered this year. So this is the first year we run these. So we'll see how successful they are. We're getting some signups, and we'll be getting some more, I'm sure. So those are 4 weekly sessions on Tuesdays from September 19th until October 10th. Morning sessions and evening sessions, but they have to choose. You can't just mix and match. I'm going to
Right.
go to the morning and I'll go to the evening. It's got to be all morning, all evening, whatever. That registration for that clinic ends on September 6th. Yoga in the Park is wrapping up. The last class is this coming Monday, the 28th, and these have also been very much enjoyed by those who've attended, and that instructor is wonderful as well, Sean Assad. So we definitely want to run that again next year if she's willing to lead it.
Okay.
Yeah. Reading in the Parks contest went well. Lots of great pictures submitted. Jordan Redding won first prize with 30 pictures of his
amazing.
family across the parks. It was fantastic. Catherine Andrews Heiss won second prize. Denise Hayden Sampson won third prize. The prizes included gift cards from local businesses, children's books, activities, games, and toys. So the adults got a little something and the kids got something too. So that was fun. The photography contest is opening up soon. That's starting September 1st. Bless you. And that'll run through the end of October. So you all will, again, this year judge and vote for your top 3 winners in each category: nature, play, and action. And then you'll vote for the overall grand prize. And those gifts will be, those prizes will be gift cards and free pavilion rentals too. So, yeah. And last year we got some amazing shots.
I was looking forward to it. Yeah, they do.
Yes.
They do a wonderful job.
That blue heron down at Robert's Mill at the pond, he or she, I don't know, is so photogenic. Incredible shots. People are taking pictures of that.
He's out
all
there
the time.
posing.
Yeah, it's excellent. It's great. Yeah. The Fall Flea Market is coming up. That's Saturday, September 23rd, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., Memorial Park. Right now, we only have about a dozen spots reserved. So I'm a little disappointed with that. We had 30 vendors participate in the spring flea market, yard sale. Now, this is something that the community requested. They wanted, oh yeah, have two, have one in the spring, have one in the fall. So I know that a lot of yard sales have been going on through the summer.
Right. Is there a way to incorporate like a citywide yard sale day with that
I don't
flea
know,
market
maybe,
time?
yeah, I don't know. We're gonna have to, I'm hoping obviously to fill up the rest, some more
Right, maybe as
spots,
the
right.
last minute
Yes.
comes up.
Yeah, but if it's not going to be well used or well utilized, I guess, then we might have to reevaluate
Right.
and just choose one per year. And if the spring one turns out to be the most popular, then
Right.
we'll just go, with that one. And that one might be the best because, spring cleaning and you've got a whole bunch of stuff you want to get rid of, and it's before everybody else starts doing yard sales
Right.
through the summer and early fall. So maybe that's the one we stick with. So we'll see. Something to consider. I'll keep you guys posted on that. We also have the big fall event, the Harvest Festival, and that's Saturday, September 30th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Also at Memorial Park. So far, we've got 27 craft vendors booked. We've got 3 food vendors. It's All Good, Tycho Seafood and Barbecue, and Tasties. 3 dessert vendors, Amber's Bake Shop, The Cow, Kona Ice, and 1 coffee truck, Travelin' Tom's Coffee. So give them a shot. Twisted Blues Band is the entertainment, and then we've got the pony rides, petting zoo, face painting, hay rides, games, bounce house, straw maze. So all the stuff that we roll out for this, so lots of free fun for everybody. I do need volunteers to assist with setup. So far, though, I only have 4 vendors who need assistance.
Okay.
So I'll keep you posted as we get closer. And once the registration deadline passes for the vendors, I'll know how many exactly need that assistance. And
Well, I'll be there either way,
send it
so
over. Okay,
we'll figure it out.
Alrighty, thank you. Tales of Taneytown, that's going to be Saturday, October 28th, 3 to 5, Memorial Park. That's so cute to see the pet parade and the pet costumes and people dressing up with their pets and everything, so looking forward to that. And we're running that again this year in conjunction with the Chamber of Commerce's Trunk or Treat event, and that seems to have worked out well in the past, so hoping that we'll have good weather and that'll be well attended this year as well. There are also a few other events being held at Memorial Park coordinated by other organizations or people who have received, as you know, a special event permit approved by a council. We've got the Maryland Horse Rescue Fundraising Concert on Sunday, September 17th, Veterans Benefit Concert on Saturday, October 7th, and the Alyssa Richards Memorial Car Show on Saturday, October 14th. So this will be all happening. Lots of stuff going on in town. Lots of things to do
Nice.
and see. So I don't have any
No
other additional
miscellaneous?
miscellaneous, no. Any questions on any of the,
We've heard enough.
right?
All right, well then, I guess we can go into new business. Talk about that Independence Day celebration.
All right, yeah, I think it was good. I think it went well. We had a big crowd. The traffic was a little crazy getting out at the end. Some people weren't paying attention or just willfully ignoring cones or barricades and just doing their own thing. Right, can you imagine? Good heavens. I think next, it was a great fireworks show, and the food trucks, did well. Everybody enjoyed the food and all of that. So, but next year, we're going to have stricter off-limits parking areas.
Okay.
And we're going to be a little stricter with the dedicated handicap parking areas. It just seemed like it was kind of, we dedicated a parking area for handicap, but the attendants were just like, waving people in, and then the handicap people were coming in and were like, where can we park?
Right.
Kind of thing. So, and then we had some people who were parking in areas that were blocked off that they shouldn't have been parking in, and that, almost created an issue. And so we're just going to be more vigilant about blocking off those areas so that that just goes a little bit better, it's a little more smoother.
Right.
But fantastic fireworks. I think they're a great company. They put on a great show again. There was another vendor who reached out, I think through Jim, forwarded the information on to me. I can check with them to see what their pricing is like and see if they've actually got references, videos. I want to see these shows. But
if you're happy with
but
who we've been
otherwise, I
using-
say, yeah, maybe we stick with Fantastic Fireworks.
Right?
Saturday night, this past Saturday, I went over to Frederick for a baseball game. Fireworks afterwards. I don't know who put them on. I mean, you know, the company that put them on, I have no idea.
Right.
They had some of the most unique
Oh,
and coolest
oh,
works.
oh, wow.
They
With
had
Frederick
fan things
Keys?
that went back and forth, looked like
insane.
waves.
Oh, my gosh.
They had things that sparkled from the ground all the way up,
Oh, wow.
and then they exploded.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, whoa, these are pretty cool.
How much are those tickets today? I'm just curious, you know, I mean, who's
Well, they were really
to
cool.
these fireworks?
And
Yeah,
I had to go over because I had to see the new baseball team over there.
yeah. Okay.
They are the Spire City Ghost Hounds.
Wow, what a name.
interesting.
What a team name.
They're a different league than the Frederick Keys are
Okay.
in.
Gotcha.
So it's two organizations, but they're owned by the same people.
Okay, gotcha.
So if somebody calls up over there and finds out who did their fireworks,
Ooh,
you know,
I could give them a call, see how
That
much
would-
that
Just
costs.
tell
How long
Fantastic
was the
Fireworks
Because they
show?
were-
game.
Yeah, what do you think?
they were just
Yeah.
totally amazing. Some of their stuff was just totally amazing.
How long was the show, Bill? Do you remember?
12, 15 minutes maybe.
Okay, okay.
You know, a little post game
Right,
because
yeah.
they were actually even having a country performer concert after the fireworks.
Nice, yeah.
So we had a full evening of entertainment over there.
I'll say.
Tickets, $10.
Right, oh, nice, you really. Well, I can
But,
look into it
you know, when
and
you were
see how
talking about
much that
fireworks,
rolls, how much
they
that
were-
costs. Yeah,
There were some new things I'd never seen before.
right.
Maybe they're all
Yeah.
coming out with that?
Yeah.
Can't
I'll
be
check
too
that out.
expensive. They can't be too expensive.
$10
because-
tickets, right. Yeah,
They get a corporate sponsor to
yeah,
pay for them.
That's what we need,
And
corporate sponsors.
corporate sponsors in Frederick are not going to put out a whole lot of money.
right. Yeah, yeah. Well, we can check into that. And that's definitely something that I've considered before as well. I know I hit up our local businesses for the Wine, Art, and Music Festival sponsorship to help defray the cost of that, for sure. And I don't know, do we hit them up again, you know, a month later?
Right.
Hey, I need some fireworks money. I don't know. We'll see. But I'll check into that. Thank you, Bill, for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Family Fun Food Truck Friday event, that also went really well. I know, it's a tongue twister. Yeah. We'll just call it Food Truck Friday. Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to be a family to come and have fun.
Yeah.
But I did see a lot of families there, a lot of children, of course, you know, with the ponies and the petting zoo and the bounce house. They were having a blast. And the food vendors, you know, all did really well. It was some really good food. I know Taco Trap House is like, I think one of the most popular. Oh, yeah. There was someone there who came up to us and said, "Thank you so much for having them. I follow them around. I follow their Facebook page and I know where they're going and I go to where they're going." It's like, wow, that's a dedicated
Yes, it
fan
is.
there for sure.
Got a hankering for tacos.
Yeah, but that went well. And then the last thing on the new business is discussion of budget amendments. So I don't know if anybody caught the most recent mayor and city council workshop and meeting, but we introduced a fiscal year 2023 budget amendment and a fiscal year 2024, which is the one we're in now, budget amendment. And it did, Parks and Recreation did factor into those amendments, and that was mostly because of Bollinger Park just rolling, the funds that we have allocated for that and that expected grant funding to from last fiscal year to this fiscal year. And also, in this fiscal year, we had an increase on the Memorial Park top lot replacement, which we're getting the majority of that funded by program open space funding, because it's our turn this year for that. And also the softball field lighting at THS Park, and the unexpected roof replacement down at the field house and the press box. So
That's gonna be tornado proof too, right?
I sure hope so. Yeah, really. Yes. So that's why we were included in those budget amendments.
Right on.
Yeah, yep. Does anybody have any questions on any of that?
All right. It's like they're done. All right, reports. I'm not even gonna give you a report because you've heard my voice enough tonight. Anybody else have anything else they'd like to throw out there? Any discussions, comments? No? Public comments? Jim, do you have anything to say?
I thought Jerry's suggestion about the features at the splash pad, something that, you know, more people at one time could use, was a really good idea.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
We are going to be limited as to the size. More people that can engage at one time.
And
Yeah,
imagine they've got so many choices.
right.
could-
Oh, yeah,
so
like
many
a
things.
catalog, yeah,
Right.
exactly. I mean, at this point, because I needed to get the grant application in too, it was, you know, give me a design, give me a price, this is kind of what we're looking for, you know, the basics. And that's what they came up with. But, you know, now that we know more about it, we can go back and say, okay, this is
Switch 'em out.
more what we're looking for. Go through that catalog and see what we can do.
Awesome. Okay.
And I can send you guys a link to that catalog as well, the Water Odyssey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
If y'all
can let the
wanna.
kids look at it, ask them what they want to see.
Right, there you go. Get kind of like a
got the
focus
little
group.
ones.
Focus group of the kids, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, you're the only public, Jim, so I guess there's no other public comments. The next meeting is scheduled for September 13th with the Athletic Association, starting it off at 6:30. And then we'll follow that. If there's nothing else, we'll take a motion to adjourn. Unless you guys want to stay.
I move to adjourn.
A second.
Second.
All right, everybody, let's take that vote this time. For the motion to adjourn?
Aye.
Yeah.
Aye. Okay, nay, if you don't want to go home. All right, that has passed. Let's go ahead and finish her up. Thank you guys very much, and thanks for being patient with me.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
Thanks for covering. Thanks.
You type a lot.